In today's video, I'm going to discuss street drifting versus track drifting. I'm going to compare and contrast the two. Before I get into it, I have to release this disclaimer. I do not condone street drifting. I'd also like to state that street drifting does not include sideshows and takeovers. That is not drifting. I must admit, I've seen talented drivers at these events, but the reality is that 99% of those drivers just turn the wheel in and floor it in an uncontrolled, spinning burnout. Now let's discuss street. The pros of street are that it's free, meaning you don't have to pay an entry fee. Also, it's generally closer than driving to a track. You don't have to drive back and forth, and you don't need to trailer your car if you do that. Another pro of street drifting is that you gain more clout from it. People care more about street drifting than track drifting because of the rush of doing something illegal. It is more likely to trend on social media and will surely get you more views. Another pro of street drifting is that it's easier to learn on the street. Sometimes people go to the track and have a hard time with all the pressure from other drivers and track officials and end up damaging their cars. Another positive side to street drifting is that it's easier to do more often because you can do it anywhere. There are unlimited spots, so you can always drift something different when street drifting. It also produces cooler content. You get cooler pictures and videos from street drifting than you do track drifting. And you also have more comfort because you don't have to wear a helmet or excessive safety equipment. Now let's talk about the cons of street drifting. There is a huge legal risk. You can get a huge fine, go to jail, and then your insurance will also go up significantly. There can be traffic, which means that you can cause accidents. There's unknown and inconsistent terrain, which means that you don't know what could happen. You can't expect the same grip twice at a spot, which can be very dangerous, especially when trying to sharpen your skill and drive faster. Another con is that it hurts all enthusiasts because law enforcement does not want people street drifting. Once people get crazy in an area and do a lot of illegal driving, the law enforcement becomes way more strict and ruins it for everybody that isn't street drifting or doing anything illegal on the street. They become profiled because they have a sports car that may be modified. Street drifting makes you limit your skill and growth potential because you're very limited in what you can do. You cannot do extreme initiations or do endless laps, so it's very challenging to get better after you learn the basics. When street drifting, you're more likely to have an accident which can cause injury or death for either you or someone else. Safety equipment is not required in street drifting, which is a con because if you have an accident, it will most likely end up way more severely. There is no ambulance on site like there is at the track, and it doesn't take long to max out your skill level on the street. So if you ever do it, you should do it in a very open area and only do it to get the gist of it before you go to a track. Another con is that you will not be respected by professionals. I mean professionals of the industry as well as professional drivers. Now let's talk about track driving. You can drift with unlimited speed. There is literally no limit to how fast you can drift. This makes you very much more talented. Track requires safety equipment, a safety crew. It requires you to go through tech, and it keeps the public safe. There is order at the track because there are track officials who take their job seriously, which guarantees that you will be safer than on the street. You have consistency on the track. This means that you can try harder and harder to do better at certain turns, which will make you a better driver. You have consistent terrain, consistent elevation changes, consistent grip levels, and you could hit it as long as you want until the track day ends, rather than street drifting where you only hit it once or twice and have to leave, or wait until the cops get there and get in trouble. Another perk to track drifting is that it is legal. You could do a lot better at something if it isn't illegal and you're not hiding while doing it. Another perk of track drifting is that you will be able to increase your skill to a higher level, and you will also be around very skillful drivers. When track drifting, there are a lot of opportunities for driving and business. When track driving, you always have the opportunity to network with professionals and make connections. When track drifting, you're more respected as a driver than someone who is just a street driver. When track drifting, you're more likely to find skillful drivers who are willing to tandem. Many days of track drifting are still cheaper than paying one street drifting ticket because the cost of entrance, fuel, food, and tires will still be cheaper than going to jail, paying a $1,000 fine at least, and having your insurance prices go up. Track drifting keeps your record clean. It also lets you fine-tune your setup because, like I said earlier, it is very consistent. You're able to learn more at the track and you learn quicker than just street drifting. When track drifting, you also have more sponsorship opportunities. When track drifting, you get to drive with professional drivers. They may even be famous drivers or your heroes. Track driving will also give you the opportunity to go into pro driving in the future if it is what you desire to do. Now let's talk about the cons of track driving. Cost can be one of the cons because just going out to the street and drifting is cheaper than setting up your car, getting ready, and going for a full track day. Those always cost a few $100 to $1,000 depending on how built your car is, because when going to the track you have to pay entry fee, you have to pay the gas to get there, you have to spend your time driving over, you have to get food while you're you're there, you have to buy drinks. Another con of track driving is the travel time. Generally, tracks are further than street spots, so you do need to spend a few hours driving back and forth. Another con of track driving is waiting for the track day. You can't drift anytime you want like with street drifting. You have to wait for certain days where tracks you want to drive will be open and allowing drifting. When track drifting, you have to commit to a certain date and time to drive. This makes it so that you're very crunched for time if you're working on your car or if your car breaks down before the event. Another con of track driving is that you drive your same local tracks over and over again, which can get a bit repetitive and less exciting. When producing track content, you'll get way less attention on social media than if you did street drifting content. The last con that I have for track drifting is something that I am ashamed to admit is true. If you've never done any street drifting in your life and you're a drifter, your roots are missing something. It's always nice to look back and think of those times where you were learning in street drifting and street racing. A lot of drivers begin on the street and then go to the track, but after they get to the track, they realize that street racing and street drifting is unacceptable. Now that I'm a track driver, I don't regret previously street drifting because it taught me a lot and it made me fairly talented quickly. But like I said in the beginning of the video, I do not condone street drifting. However, if you're going to do it, make sure that you're in a position where you cannot hurt anybody else, only yourself. The least you can do is be responsible about it. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it informative. These are only my opinions, but I do believe that they are true. Before making this video, I made a pros and cons list, and the results are as follows. Street drifting had 8 pros and 12 cons. Track drifting had 17 pros and 7 cons. In conclusion, track drifting is a way better choice than street drifting. Be responsible and keep it on the track. Thanks for watching. If you have a moment, please go and check out my other videos. With that being said, please like, comment, subscribe, and share with your friends. Take care, everybody. See you next time.